Hello, my name is Amaya Johns. If you see me in the street, you can call me all about Amaya. You can call me Amaya Johns. You can call me Maya. Some of y'all call me Auntie, whatever. I don't know. And here is my outpour of my story. So my coming out story was a little rocky, but as I get older, it's something that I just realized had to happen, especially for me to be the person that I am today and to just live comfortably and free, and just be myself. So I originally came out at the age of 14 to my mom and I want to say her boyfriend at the time. I was dealing with this guy who was a few years older than me, and I lied about my age. And although we never got into anything, we just always kept in contact through email or texting and stuff. This was like back in 2000, I want to say 2013, 14, around that time. Anywho, of course, technology wasn't as advanced as it is now, so we didn't have like Instagram or sliding the DMs or none of that. We had chat rooms and I want to say it was AOL or Yahoo, something like that. Anywho, I always would tell him like, don't call my phone. I would call him because I only had a house phone. And it was Christmas Day, and that's my mom's birthday. We initially would open our gifts and then head to my grandma's or whatever and go see other family. So I figured, let me go ahead and call him and tell him Merry Christmas because I'm going to be gone all day with my family. Called him, didn't answer, and I want to say about 10, 15 minutes, he called back and my mom answered the phone, and that's what kind of led to my mom finding out that I was talking to a guy, me having to come out. At that time, I didn't know how to identify as transgender, so initially I was just like, I'm gay. I like guys like me. I don't really know how to put that in terms, but it is what it is. Soon after, I went back again and had to come out again and just tell her that I felt like I was supposed to be a girl. I feel like a woman. I knew that I looked like one, and the rest is history. Initially, I know that some people tend to accept you being gay easier than you coming out as trans. So I think had I just said, well, hey, look, I'm gay, and I would have remained in this masculine-like type of form, then they might have been cool with that because it's like once you leave out of the house, no one knows, you look like a guy, talk like a guy, walk like a guy. That would have been okay, but I think me, not to mention I am Haitian too, so my family being from the Caribbean is just like a whole nother situation. And me coming out as transgender was just a bit challenging for them because it's like, not only do you like men, you were born male, now you want to be a woman, you identify as female, you're going to go through these changes, which no one knew how I was going to look or anything like that. So I think there were a lot of things running through my mom and my family's mind. Also, like how society was going to perceive me, like would I have issues with just the world and me being who I am. And not to mention, I didn't know anything about the trans community, nor did my mom. So I really didn't have that many resources. I kind of just was winging it and honestly just hoping and praying that who I was destined to be would eventually come to me and my family and friends would somehow understand, even when I couldn't put it in words myself. Just feel it deep inside of our hearts and in our minds that this is who we were meant to be, and no matter what you do, what you wear, it's always going to be embedded in you. I don't do it for the clothes or, the hair and all those things don't make up a trans person. I think it begins with your heart and knowing that no matter how many challenges you are faced with, especially from people that you love, initially you're going to go through with it because it's something you just can't live without. I know that me being a woman is something that I can't live without. I can't imagine me waking up every morning and not being able to live in my truth and be happy. Most of you may know that I am a trans advocate, and I had to sit down before I decided to take on that role and process what an advocate is and what a trans advocate is for my community and what it is doing for me. I understand that there are different ways for you to be an advocate or with your advocacy, and my advocacy begins with me just being my total self, giving myself to my community, being very open and honest about my experiences as a trans woman of color, just sharing my personal experiences with my family, with dating, with me working in corporate America, and just like striving through everyday life. So I'm always just giving girls advice, helping girls with job placement, giving girls just different references and connecting them with people who can help further along them with their journey as being trans women. And more so too, not just for people in the trans community, but just showing those outside of the trans community that we are normal just like anybody else. We are deserving of all the resources and everything else that this world has to offer. The one thing that you have to learn about passing privilege is it is a privilege. However, we do have to acknowledge that passing privilege doesn't just happen overnight. Like, I feel like throughout your journey, every girl's journey is their own journey. We have to also realize that you cannot compare your journey to the next girl. One girl may already have some of those physical attributes and advances to take her a little further, and you may not necessarily have that, but you have to do your journey for you. Are you doing it for the look, or are you doing it because it's just who you are? Granted, I do know that I am a beautiful trans woman of color, but I feel like it wasn't always like that. And being able to look back on my beginning stages of my transition allows me to use that as reference and to show other girls that it's a process, but you will get there. Because my passing starts with me. Even if I was the ugliest thing walking the street, if I felt like I was beautiful, then that's just, that's just what it was. One of my scariest moments as a trans person, I have 3. And they're not necessarily scary anymore, but these are just things that I was definitely worried about. One of them was being murdered because of me being a trans woman of color. Every day or every other day, unfortunately, we hear about or see things in the news about trans women being attacked, murdered, harassed. The list goes on and on. And every day that I leave my house to go to work, to school, or any of those different things that I've done in the past, I have to keep in my mind that you have to watch your surroundings. You have to watch yourself. You need to be the number one priority, and your safety in life matters because you just don't know what other people are going through. So that was one thing that I feared a lot, was just my safety. Like, what's going to happen if I'm out in public and a guy shows interest in me and then, picks up that I'm transgender? Is he going to harm me? Is he going to shame me or embarrass me in front of society? So that's something that constantly plays in the back of my mind. Another thing was me, growing up into a beautiful woman and not being able to find true love or to truly be with someone who can appreciate me for who I am and love me openly and out loud. I always feel like, trans women, well, growing up then, I used to feel like trans women weren't deserving of love. You're transgender. You're supposed to deal with men behind closed doors. We're supposed to be secrets. And I knew that that's just not what I wanted. I want to be in love. I want to have a partner who's secure in himself, and I want to be loved out loud. Final thing was growing old and not having children to take care of me. I love my grandma and my other grandparents. I love my mom, and it's beautiful to see that they have children and grandchildren who look after them. But a lot of times I think about, like, what is it going to be like when I'm an older trans woman of color and I don't have children of my own to take care of me? Who's going to look after me? So that's something that kind of plays in my mind as well. Some of my proudest moments as an advocate, honestly, one of them was when I was in college. Like I said before, I am the oldest of 5 children. I'm Haitian. And you really don't see many well, now we see a lot of trans women of color, but just a few years ago, you didn't really see many people wanting to be out and wanting to openly embrace who they were as trans women. And I went forward and did that while I was in school, and took on the role of just educating other students in different social study classes in Florida. I am just like you. I am deserving of all of these different things, and like kind of erasing that narrative that society has placed on trans women, that we're just solely into sexual work. We're not deserving of life. Our lives don't matter. We don't have family who don't care about us. We don't have partners and all these different things. And I kind of really shook the room to show people that that's not the narrative, and especially not for me. I have family who loves me. You know, I'm educated. I do pretty good for myself. You know, so I felt like that was a moment where I truly was proud to know that I'm changing different lives. As time went on, I was like, how can I take my advocacy further? What are different avenues that people are using to like really reach the masses? And that's when I thought about YouTube. I revisited that idea again, and I was like, yeah, there are a lot of different YouTubers who are talking about their transition, but none of those girls are me. You know, none of them are me. So we're going to share our experiences. We're not going to treat people like fans. We're going to treat them like family, because that's what we are. And I'm going to use my voice and my funny stories and, you know, experiences that I've experienced, and use it to just go into people's homes and talk to them on a personal level. People reaching out on social media about how my YouTube has influenced them, or just seeing me live out openly with my friends and vlogging all the time about our crazy moments, and even taking it further into showing people how I interact with my own family members and things of that nature. But one thing that really hit me like, oh my God, I'm really a YouTuber, was me going out to Sunday Fun Day. If you're here in Atlanta, you know that everybody goes to 10th and Piedmont on Sunday afternoons or evening. And, you know, we drink, we carry on, we fellowship, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But there was a guy across the bar. Me and my girlfriend, Drea, were getting drinks, and the guy kept staring at me. So initially I'm like, okay, is he like checking one of us out? Like, what? Why is he giving me this look? And so by the time I got my drink and turned around, the same boy was in my face, and he was just like, you know, I'm not trans, and I don't really know much about the trans community, but for some reason I feel like your videos resonate with me, and I identify with it. And he was like, not that I want to be a woman or anything, it's just your struggle can kind of stand up for many different people, not just trans. And that's when it clicked to me that, you know, this isn't just a trans thing, this is for everybody. But I think it's a huge myth about the trans women not getting along. We can all work together and be together. I feel like the world is already against us, so the only thing that we can rely on is our beauty. Just kidding. But our unity, like, we have to stick together. I know for me, I think one thing that us as trans women don't like to say out loud is that we inspire each other. Every woman that I come across to inspires me. I take something from each woman, whether she's trans or not. And I know that for me to survive and for me to be who I am, I need to be around other trans women. I have cisgender friends that I'm very, very close with, and they respect me as a trans woman. But I also need to be around like-minded individuals and women who identify with the same struggles that I go through. So it's imperative that I have trans sisters around me. So we got to shake that myth. Find some girls who are like you. You guys are like-minded. You guys, you know, have the same goals and dreams and aspirations, all those different things, and click up with them. Everybody sees me with Keish and Drea, and it's genuine as it can get. If I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I would say take some hormones. No, I would say take some hormones, sis, now. We need to take as much as we can. Pump that estrogen in, honey. Take as much as hormones as we can. Learn to love who you are, and don't settle. Don't settle for family. Don't settle for what you think is love. Don't settle for life. Like, go after what it is you want and stand firm on that. I would hug myself because I feel like that's what I needed as a child and a teen. Like, I needed a hug. And my mom and family hugged on me and loved me, but I truly felt like I needed somebody to just tell me that it's going to be okay. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to have an explanation for everybody. The only thing that you need to do is strive, survive, and be the best you that you can be. I'm Amaya Johns, aka Amaya, aka everybody's auntie, aka the girl next door. This is my story, baby, and I'm sticking to it.
I can do better than you.